Okay.
What's good, y'all? Buenos tardes, wagwan. Welcome back to episode 2 of Off-Season Talks. Today I'm going to talk about my top 5 sleeper teams going into this up-and-coming NBA season. But real quick, I want to throw a shout out to All Things Good, a Chicago-based black-owned clothing line. That's where I got this shirt from. They're always dropping heat. They probably got some more on the way. So I'm going to put them in the comment section. Go ahead, support. I just want to show some love. But we're going to get into the number 1 team, and that's the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, I know you're probably wondering, how can the Timberwolves be a sleeper team if they've been in the playoffs, they've been in the conference finals, they have Anthony Edwards? I just think that people are underestimating the impact that LaMelo Ball is going to have on their roster. Anthony Edwards has seen double teams in so many different situations, but you can't do that as much when you have LaMelo Ball on the floor. So I think we might see one of the best seasons out of Anthony Edwards' young career. I also feel like who better to throw a lob pass to Rudy Gobert, who struggles sometimes, than LaMelo Ball. And Rudy Gobert has a lot of potential to be a contributing factor to rosters. He's obviously been a DPOY numerous times, and offensively he struggles sometimes with his coordination, but I think LaMelo Ball can help him. And then you have Jaden McDaniels, who had a good season last year, hoping for him to improve. And you got some other young guys on that roster that we want to see also continue to contribute to the Timberwolves. In my opinion, I think they could be a top 3 team in the Western Conference this coming season. So I'm excited to see how that goes, We're going to stay tuned and watch. And the post-game talks are going to be hilarious, with LaMelo and Anthony Edwards. So I'm excited to see how that goes. At number 2, we have the Portland Trailblazers. Now, Portland had a decent season already last year while Damian Lillard was sidelined. But Damian Lillard will be back healthy this year, and they just got Ja Morant. I think Ja Morant is in a place where he's going to want to prove to people that he's still Ja. His trade value went down crazy. And you got Ja Morant and Dame in the backcourt. You also got Donovan Clingan. I think people are going to start to understand how good he is in these coming years as well. That pick and roll with Ja Morant, Donovan Clingan, or Damian Lillard and Donovan Clingan is going to look pretty nasty. I'm excited to see how that works. They still have Denny Avdia, Shaedon Sharpe, so much young talent on that team. So they can make a little bit of noise in the West as well. It's a tough conference, but, we still got to see how that goes. So I got them as number 2 on my sleeper. Number 3 is where it gets real sleepy. I got the Indiana Pacers. I know people aren't really expecting much out of the Pacers, given they had a really bad season last year. But Tyrese Halliburton's coming back, and he looked good in his recovery videos, his off-season workouts. And I think that the last time Tyrese Halliburton played was in the NBA Finals. With that being said, that was the last thing he was playing for on the NBA floor. I'm not saying that he's going to lead them to another NBA Finals appearance right now, but I think he's going to have that same fire and try to help them bring that team back to playoff contention as much as possible. I also feel like Rick Carlisle is a good coach, and they have Pascal Siakam still. They acquired Kelly Oubre as well this past offseason. And I think that he's the type of role player that he's going to grow into those expectations and enjoy the extra minutes and really showcase what he can do. He is a dog. They also have Ivica Zubac. Ivica Zubac is another big in this league that I don't think gets talked about enough. You put him next to one of the best point guards in our current NBA in Tyrese Halliburton. I'm excited to see how that pick and roll is going to look. I think that Zubac could average close to 20 points, honestly, this season, depending how they utilize him. So I'm not saying the Pacers are going to be a threatening playoff team this year, but I do think they could sneak in to the lower side of the Eastern Conference, be above 500, be a play-in or low playoff seed team. And that's enough. Honestly, I've learned that you really just got to get into the playoffs, to have a chance. That's what matters at the end of the day. At number 4, we have the LA Lakers. People have been calling them, they got a nickname, the DEI Lakers, but hey, man, they still got guys. I'm going to be real. We got to act like we've seen Luka Doncic play. He just came from a finals appearance in 2024, and in a given week, Luka can look like the best player in the league. So putting him next to Walker Kessler, who is the type of big that he's been begging for. Walker Kessler was on the Utah Jazz, and I think that when you play in low market teams, you're not playing on televised games, you kind of skate under the radar, and people don't really understand the type of player that you are. I think Walker Kessler is going to have a great season as well. He has the right players that are going to be leading him. Luka Doncic is going to make his life so much easier. And Austin Reeves is coming off of his best season yet, a great season last year. So I'm excited to see what they do. But outside of those three players, I really think people aren't talking about the type of depth that Rob Pelinka added to their roster this season. I got to give him his credit because at the beginning of the offseason, it looked like Rob Pelinka was asleep or he was on vacation in Turks and Caicos or something. But all of a sudden he woke up. He got Quentin Grimes, a great 3-and-D player. They got Colin Sexton, who's a... My goodness. Sorry, I'm outside y'all in the elements. Let me lock in. They got Colin Sexton, who's great energy, great offensive threat coming into this season. Probably going to come off the bench, but that's what you need. You need guys that come off the bench and can continue the effort and energy that your star players already put into the game. They also got Cameron Carr from Baylor. He's a great young player. I didn't even know about him until Summer League, to be honest with you, but he's a dog. He says he wants to be a two-way, and that's how you earn your minutes in this NBA. They also got a Deuce Thiero coming off his two-way contract. I want to see what Bronny James does now that his pops is gone. He was playing under that spotlight. Bronny James has dealt with a lot of political things on the NBA floor as well, just being LeBron James' son. Also coming off of a cardiac arrest at USC. He didn't have the type of path to the NBA that you typically do, but he's still a great player. He said he wants to reach a ceiling like Derek White or Drew Holiday, and we don't know if that'll happen, but, you know, at the end of the day, like, he's a defensive-minded guy. He's athletic, but he got a jumper too. You know, those are very valuable things on the NBA floor. So, you know, I want to see what Bronny does this season. I'm not saying he's going to average 15 points, but I think he's going to contribute more than he has in the past seasons. And at number 5, you know I couldn't end the video without talking about my Boston Celtics. Now, I just want to start here. Obviously, I don't want people to think that I wasn't a fan of Jaylen Brown. I love Jaylen Brown, and I love what he did for us. He was a Finals MVP. We wouldn't have got a chip without him. But at the same time, I've learned in life, you got to learn to move on. We're going to see the 76ers about 4 times at least this season. That means we got to figure out how to beat Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, VJ Edgecombe, and I'm still processing the fact that LeBron James has signed to the 76ers. I don't even want to talk about it for real right now, but shout out to them. But we're talking about the Celtics. One thing I do want to talk about as well is that we showed Jaylen Brown a lot of praises last year for leading us to a 2 seed. And if you go and look at our roster last year compared to this year, I don't know who's saying that we had a better roster last year than this year. Coming back from his Achilles injury with Jason Tatum, he got to play last season, and that was very important because he got to get over that mental hump that you got to get over when you come back from a very big injury that can kind of mess with your game. He's still a young guy. He's not 30 yet. And we know Jason Tatum has been first-team All-NBA numerous times back-to-back years. I'm not saying he's going to be the same exact player, but I can see him averaging a little under 30 points this season with the amount of usage that he's going to have. Now, we know Paul George is also 36 years old. But if you go and look at the footage, if you have time, Paul George was defending Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in the playoffs last year against us, and you saw we blew a 3-1 lead. He also was facilitating their offense in the late minutes of those games while Tyrese Maxey was playing off ball or Joel Embiid was out in certain games. So we got to give Paul George a certain level of respect, even at his age. He's shown us that he can still produce. We just got to make sure that he stays healthy. That's the biggest thing. You know, I hope that the Celtics organization is really on top of that, and I will hope to see Paul George play 50 to 60 games at least this season with us. I'm really hoping that's the case, because if that's the case, we have a good roster. That's what I'm getting to. We have a better roster this year than last year. You have Jason Tatum, Paul George. Derek White didn't have a good season last year, but he's a championship caliber player. I'm betting on him bouncing back this year. And then you also have Payne Pritchard. Now, people are saying that Pritchard's going to have a Brunson-like season and a Brunson-like leap. He's a young guy, but let's stop disrespecting Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson just dropped 45 in a Game 5 away game in the finals against the Spurs. They were down basically every game, and this guy was as clutch as he could be. Like, we got to show Jalen Brunson his respect. I don't know what he can do at this point before we actually, like, put him in the conversation he deserves to be in. But with that being said, I do think Payne Pritchard will have some type of jump this year. I think that Payne Pritchard's going to look great in our system now with more touches. I'm not sure if they're going to start him or continue to bring him off the bench, because we have the ability to maybe throw in Baylor Scheinman or Hugo Gonzalez as a glue guy, because we have offense already, and you need energy off the bench, like I said. But I would love to see him in the starting lineup as well. You know, our team is looking good. We got Dylan Mitchell as well that we drafted. We drafted Christian Jr. And I hope that they find a way to free up minutes for Christian Jr. at least, because we have Nehemiah Queta, great player. Mitchell Robinson, I think, should start this season, even though I'm seeing Queta will be starting. But Christian Jr., in my opinion, is our future starting center. And I think that we need to pour into him, and we need to continue to build his confidence so that he can be the best version of himself in this NBA. We kind of see what Robinson and Queta's ceiling is, but we have no idea what Christian Jr.'s ceiling is. He can space the floor. He has a decent IQ, and he's a high energy guy. He likes to play defense. He's 7 foot, long wingspan. So that's what we need. And I'm excited to see. I hope that they clear up minutes for him, like I said. Dylan Mitchell, I believe, was a very strategic draft pick because I think that we drafted him, and I think he's going to get minutes this season. He, in my opinion, is our best defender on the team. We could say Hugo Gonzalez or Jordan Walsh or Paul George is our best perimeter defender. But Dylan Mitchell at 6'8", 6'9", with his wingspan and athleticism can turn into a Jaden McDaniels type player. Or defender at least. That's the type of guy that you put on SGA, Anthony Edwards, Luka Doncic, etc., and you hope that he makes their life harder. You can't stop those guys, but you just hope you have someone that can make their job a little harder on the floor. I'm excited to see all those guys mesh together. And I think that the Celtics could be a top 5 seed, top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, the 76ers and the Knicks are going to be the teams to beat in the East this year. But I'm a Celtics fan. I'm rolling with us. I'm always going to roll with us. And that's what I'm saying. I understand we lost Jaylen Brown. The emotions are high. I see it in the comment sections and all over social media. But we got to figure out how we can move on and still be successful. So with that being said, thank y'all for tuning in. This is Offseason Talks Part 2. If you didn't watch the first episode, it's still on my page. You can go ahead and just scroll down and you'll find it. Shout out to y'all for supporting me. Tune in for the next episode. Peace.
She seen my face before she think I'm trying to set her up. She said she had a man and told my ass to get the fuck. But I be damned if I get turned down. Baby, I'm not letting up.